Now imagine this. What if your body wasn't bound by yesterday's pain? What if healing wasn't a process that took weeks or months, but something that could begin right now, in this very moment? You see, we've been taught that healing is slow, that change is hard. But science, and more importantly your mind, says otherwise. When you tap into the quantum field, when you shift your energy, when you elevate your emotional state, your biology begins to follow your beliefs. Cells reorganize, chemistry changes, and healing, real, deep, lasting healing begins to accelerate. You are not a victim of your genes. You are the architect of your reality. So today, I invite you to let go of the old story and step into the field of infinite possibility. Because the fastest healing you'll ever experience doesn't start in the body. It starts in the mind. The body heals when the mind believes. This idea is not just a spiritual concept, it's a principle backed by neuroscience and epigenetics. Our thoughts, when repeated and emotionally charged, begin to create patterns in the brain that shape our biology. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you consistently hold a belief that you are healing, thriving, and whole, your brain begins to wire itself to reflect that belief, firing new neural pathways and releasing biochemicals that support regeneration and balance. Every thought we think produces a chemical. If you think empowering, loving, or hopeful thoughts, your brain signals your body to release chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, hormones that promote growth, repair, and inner harmony. On the other hand, fear, doubt, and stress signal the release of cortisol and adrenaline, which are designed for short-term survival, but become destructive when chronically activated. The body can't be in growth and protection at the same time. So when the mind chooses belief, chooses healing, it sends a new signal to every cell in the body. The placebo effect is a perfect example. People have healed with sugar pills and saline injections, simply because they believed the treatment would work. That belief activated their body's internal pharmacy. If belief alone can trigger healing in clinical trials, imagine what's possible when we consciously, deliberately use belief every single day, not just for moments, but as a way of being. When you combine clear intention with elevated emotion, like gratitude for already being healed, you teach your body what your future feels like now. And in doing so, you signal genes to turn on health, immunity, and regeneration. The body isn't the obstacle. The mind is the gateway. Your thoughts create your biology. Every thought you think is an electrical signal in the brain that translates into a chemical signal in the body. When you think a thought repeatedly, especially when it's charged with emotion, it becomes a hardwired neural circuit. Over time, this becomes a belief, a way of being, and your body follows that blueprint. The brain is not fixed. It's neuroplastic, meaning it changes in response to your mental activity. What you fire, you wire. So if you constantly think thoughts of fear, limitation, or unworthiness, your brain will mirror that in its structure and chemistry. And your body will express it through stress, inflammation, and imbalance. The body is the unconscious mind. It memorizes the emotions you feel most often and begins to live in the past. If you're thinking stressful thoughts, your body becomes conditioned to those chemicals, and you begin to feel anxious or exhausted even without a trigger. That state becomes your normal, and the biology adapts to support that version of you. This is how thought alone can lead to chronic conditions, not because of genetics, but because of repeated internal messaging that signals the body to stay in survival mode. But when you change your thoughts, when you think greater than how you feel, you break that loop. Elevated thoughts of love, joy, peace, or gratitude begin to reshape the brain and change the hormonal signature of the body. New neural pathways are formed, new proteins are made, and new genes are activated. You begin to signal your body to create health, coherence, and vitality. Your biology literally reorganizes around a new mind. The external world may stay the same, but your internal world begins to transform, and the body cannot help but follow the new instruction. Elevated emotions rewire the brain and body. Emotions are energy in motion, and they are the language of the body. When you feel emotions like gratitude, joy, love, inspiration, and empowerment, your body moves into a state of order, balance, and coherence. These elevated states don't just make you feel good, they change your chemistry. They flood your system with healing hormones and neuropeptides that signal growth and repair. Your heart rhythms become more coherent, your brain waves synchronize, and your immune system becomes stronger. The body shifts from survival to creation. In contrast, emotions like fear, anger, guilt, and shame keep the body locked in stress and incoherence. These survival emotions are useful in short bursts, but when they become habitual, they damage the body. Cortisol and adrenaline spike, heart rate increases, digestion shuts down, and the immune system weakens. The brain becomes erratic, and the body gets stuck in fight or flight. Over time, this leads to inflammation, exhaustion, and disease. But when you begin to practice elevated emotions daily, before there's even a reason to feel them, you train your body to live in a new emotional signature. You teach it what the future feels like before it arrives. The brain begins to build new circuits, and the body starts memorizing the feeling of wellness, of abundance, of love. It no longer waits for something external to change. It becomes chemically aligned with a new internal state. This emotional conditioning is how you reprogram your subconscious mind. The stronger the emotional signal, the more the body believes it's real. With repetition, this becomes your new baseline. Your new personal reality begins to shift. You no longer wait for healing to happen. You become the energy of healing itself. And your brain and body respond in kind. The quantum field responds to who you're being. In the quantum model of reality, everything exists as energy. Waves of infinite potential waiting to become matter. Your thoughts send out an electrical signal, and your emotions broadcast a magnetic field. Together, they create an energetic signature that interacts with the quantum field. The energy of your desired future. When you feel abundant, healed, and whole before it manifests, then you're drawing that future towards you. Most people wait for something external to change how they feel. They think, when I'm healed, I'll feel grateful. Or when I succeed, I'll feel confident. But the quantum field works the other way around. You have to feel the emotion of your future now as if it's already happened in order to cause it to happen. This is not visualization, this is embodiment. It's about becoming the person who already lives in that future reality. Your energy must match your intention. This alignment creates coherence in your field. And coherence is what the quantum responds to. The clearer and more consistent your energetic signal, the more magnetic you become to new possibilities. The field begins to rearrange itself to reflect your inner world. That's why change doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from a change in identity. You must become the version of yourself that already has what you seek. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all aligned with that version of you, the quantum field has no choice but to reflect it back through people, circumstances, and events that confirm the new reality. Break the habit of being your old self. Every day, most people wake up and immediately think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and perform the same routines. This repetition hardwires their brain into a specific pattern and conditions the body to memorize a familiar emotional state. Over time, this becomes their identity. A predictable set of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that create the same experiences over and over again. The past becomes their future because they're living from a program. To create real change, you have to step out of that loop and consciously choose to become someone new. The personality creates your personal reality. So if you want to change your life, you have to change your mind. That means becoming aware of your unconscious thoughts, observing your automatic emotional reactions, and interrupting your habitual behaviors. The moment you begin to notice these patterns without reacting to them, you're no longer the program. That's the beginning of freedom. You can't create a new reality from the same level of mind that created the old one. True transformation requires intention and presence. It means waking up to who you've been and choosing who you want to become. You must teach your body what it feels like to live in a new state of being before your environment gives you any reason to feel it. That's how you break the cycle. You stop telling the same story, stop reliving the same emotions, and start signaling new genes, new neural networks, and new outcomes. With daily practice, the old self begins to fade, and a new self starts to emerge. Change doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. You're not destined to repeat the past. You're designed to evolve beyond it.